Hi, everyone. You are still watching Comedy is Calling, the virtual show in partnership with Capital Cider House in Washington, D.C. Up next, I am very excited to welcome this stand up comedian. Not only does she perform stand up, she also performs improv comedy. And not only that, she also sets up comedy shows in Washington, D.C. You can learn more about that by checking out Cheers Comedy DC on Facebook. This is a very, very talented person. I am so excited to welcome her. So please welcome to the stage, M. Fiske.
Hey everybody, how are y'all doing? I guess you're doing well if you're watching this. I'm doing pretty well. Well, I didn't get my period this month, but I mean that was expected because I have an IUD. It's like actually part of the plan. It'd be kind of weird if I didn't get my if I did get my period with an IUD. But no, I love having an IUD. It's been interesting. I got it as part of my divorcee starter kit. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the divorcee starter kit, it includes an IUD, therapy. That's it. I mean, you can upgrade to a lawyer if you want, but honestly, I live in DC, so got to keep in that budget. But no, I mean, getting the IUD actually wasn't that big of a deal. My friends kind of had me psyched out, but it was a pretty smooth process. The day of came, and I went in with Juliet. I call my vagina Juliet because all of the men who have loved her are dead to me. And, we get in, I update my marital status, and they take me back, and they say, doctor, I'll be right in. And the thing is, like, I love my gynecologist. I've been seeing her for years. She's a fantastic woman. And so I wasn't, like, that worried, but it was reasonably confusing when I did get the knock at the door, and rather than her, the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life walks in. Like, this guy was just an Adonis in a lab coat, and he was just smooth and suave, and he walks right up to me and he says, "Hey, I'm Dr. Najjar. Sorry to hear about your divorce." And I didn't really have anything to say in that moment because there were like a million things going through my head. One of which was, why do I always forget that GW is a teaching hospital? Like, they're going to send in the resident before they send in my doctor. And then another pretty big one was, I'm not wearing pants. Like, even I'm most sexually ambitious, I was about to go from meeting this guy to showing him my vagina in, like, record time. Which was helped by the fact that, Alice was, like, just hidden under a very sad paper towel. I also call my vagina Alice because, as John Mayer said, this body's a wonderland. And so, he saw me being confused and panicking, and so he's did the adult thing, got the appointment rolling. He's like, so, I see you're here to get an IUD today. Great. I'm sure you have a bunch of questions from, like, all the research you did for them. Like, what do you want to know? Nothing. I didn't do any research. I just came in. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. You must know at least which brand of IUD you want, right? No, I did not. I'm not an adult. And at that point, he, like, looked me straight in the eye, and he goes, did you do anything to prepare for this visit? I showered. Took a shower before I came in. Because, like, if I'm going to be showing off, like, old Cersei Lannister, I need to make sure she's all fresh and clean. I call my vagina Cersei Lannister because she loves fucking bros. And so he starts taking me through it. He's, like, telling me about the different brands. And as we're talking about them, I start noticing that, like, they all have, there's, like, this pattern. Like, they all have very feminine millennial names with unnecessary Y's in them. Like, Morena, Kylara. It's like I'm just waiting for him to be like, Crayola. Like, I really feel like if there's, like, a male IUD, it would just be called like Nickelback or something like that. But you know, like as we continue talking, like the back and forth starts to like emerge, and I start loosening up, and I start thinking to myself, you know, I'm not seeing a ring. Like maybe this is the good time for like to start busting out the flirting skills for the first time in 7 years. Mainly because he was obligated to stay in the room with me, but also I didn't see a wedding band, so you know. I started trying to think like what's something sexy, what's something like good and suave and smooth to say, and then I open my mouth and go, "Do you come here a lot?" Y'all, he was at work. But he was polite enough to be like, yeah, I'm here on Tuesdays through Thursdays from 8 to 4, which was great because then I knew when to make my unnecessary follow-up visit. But I don't want to say like all hope was lost. Like he did ask me these like kind of cute little questions about me. Like he's like, "Do you still use your inhaler?" Oh my God, yes. Like, as needed. Usually once a week. Or when you take my breath away. And it was at that point the doctor walked through the door, and I may have heard him say, "Thank God." And from there, it was like a fairly standard, smooth visit. She inserted the IUD. He watched. It was the most action that me and Carmen Sandiego had gotten in months at that point. Call my vagina Carmen Sandiego because men can't seem to find her. Oh, no, sorry. I call my clits Carmen Sandiego. I call my vagina Carrie because when she's mad, everything ends up covered in blood. And, from there, as we were wrapping up, my doctor says to me, good job. Here's your lollipop. Just so you know, you don't want to have intercourse for the next 7 days because you might not get loose. Which, bless her heart for thinking that was an option for me, because at that point I was still separated and leading with that fact on first dates. So that she didn't really have to worry. But, what I wish I could tell y'all is that I done something really sexy at the end. It's like, look Dr. Najjar straight in the eyes, lowered my voice an octave, and said something like, "What are you doing 7 days from now?" But what I did was look into my lap and say, "You too." Thanks, guys. You've been so great. Support your local businesses while you can, and look up Cheers Comedy online, Cheers Comedy DC. Thanks so much. I am so excited because I'm about to bring up one of my favorite people in DC. She does comedy shows all over the city. I would think of her as my muse creatively when it comes to like setting up shows. She's a fabulous person. Her name is Stacey Axler. She set up the show. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Oh man, thank you so much, Em. That's very kind of you. Thank you not only to Em, but to all of the comics who are performing, and thank you to Capital Cider House, who is the other organizer of this show. We all love and appreciate you. Something I've been noticing a lot, especially because a lot of my communication has turned virtual, so I've been doing a lot of these Zoom calls. I've also just been doing a lot of phone calls, chats via Facebook Live, pretty much any virtual communication you can do. And I noticed from doing this that I'm a very long-winded person. A lot of these applications will have a time limit set to them. Like Zoom, for example, if you have a basic Zoom plan, you're really limited to a 40-minute time frame, which is inconvenient for me because even for me telling a regular story, I can bump up against that time frame. I'm a pretty long-winded person. When I was a kid, even into my teenager years, and as recently as 2 weeks ago, sometimes people will tell me to speed it up. They'll just say, Stacey, speed it up. We need to get to the end of the story. And what they don't realize is that if anyone tells me to speed it up, they've just added 30 more minutes to the story just due to like my own stress and anxiety about trying to speed it up. And that's with like an easy conversation about like what I've done earlier today. If it's a difficult conversation, they've added like 2 hours. So keep that in mind, everyone. In other news, my phone, I think, is trying to kill me. I think that phones are trying to rise up and take control now that they think that the human race is in peril. Why do I think this? I'm not a paranoid person. I actually am, but I think I have some backup to this. And it's because my phone will always tell me what the weather is in the morning. Unprompted, it will say, Stacey, did you know that today is 68 degrees? And it's actually the weather today. It's 68 degrees. And then it will follow up and say, it is 5 degrees warmer than yesterday, as a ploy to entice me into going outside. We're not supposed to be going outside. So clearly my phone is trying to encourage me to go outside for selfish reasons. What my phone doesn't understand is that I don't care if it's 80 degrees outside. I'm not going out there. I'm not going outside. The last time I was outside was on Friday. That was just to kind of take a walk around the neighborhood. And before that, it had been a week since I had been outside. I never really liked the outside much, even as a kid. I thought it was too hot. There was too many insects out there. Never really liked being outside, but it's kind of one of those things that you don't realize how much you actually like something until it's taken away from you. Like, I really would like to go outside. I haven't, but that's all right because I've developed some other ways into having fun. For example, from my apartment balcony, I can see all the trains that pass by going into the Silver Spring metro station. So something fun that I like to do is wave at them. Another fun thing that I tried to do 3 days ago is I tried to lure a bird to come into my apartment. I didn't know what the bird would do once it got into my apartment, but I thought it'd be interesting to try. So I opened up my screen door and just waited for this pretty dove to fly in, but it never did. So I just spent about 2 hours watching this bird from inside my apartment. But what I realized from this is that anything can be fun if you just do it long enough. Being on a virtual chat is weird. Whenever I knew I was going to be seeing people, I always tried to put at least a small amount of effort into my appearance, making sure that I was showered and my hair looked okay and I had on a like clean shirt or whatever. But then as soon as I left my apartment, it's like I didn't care about how I looked at all because I couldn't see myself. I could only see other people. Doing virtual communication, all you can see is yourself. Like, even right now, I know I'm supposed to be looking at my camera, which is up top of my computer. I'm honestly just looking at myself. And I know looks aren't everything, but I'm not pleased by what I see when I'm looking at myself. So, and I don't know how I can change that. I really don't know. Going back to the technology thing for a little bit, though, it's so weird to me how my phone is always trying to like take that next step with me, give me more information. It's like your phone. I remember the first cell phone I ever got. I was 14 and it could only text and do calls. It couldn't access the internet. It was just like kind of a bare bones phone. And that's what everyone had at the time. And it's so weird to me how some technology has really advanced and shot upwards and other technology has remained stagnant. And if you don't agree with me, then I would like to say Exhibit A is the garbage disposal. One thing I would love to see within my lifetime, more so than anything else, is I would really, really like to have a garbage disposal one day that doesn't sound like I'm massacring a demon on the side. Like whenever you turn on the garbage disposal, it literally sounds like the fiery demon is inside your kitchen and you are destroying it through holy water, or I don't even know. I mean, maybe your mind is thinking about it. I just hate apologizing to people when I turn on the garbage disposal. Anyway, thank you so much to everyone who is watching. Thank you to all the comics, and thank you to Capital Cider House. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Goodbye.